Left of the box. Nora, who is a really good journalist as well, just mentioning the NDP could have done this over a political question. The NDP could have done this over the liberal support of Israel, for example. Instead, they were just like, let's do it because vibes are good. So this was released from Jagmeet Singh, and the timing, everything about it was just really sad. Really, like, his political instinct sucks. It absolutely sucks. But let's see this deal is done video.
Today, I notified the Prime Minister that I've ripped up the supply and confidence agreement. Canadians are fighting a battle for the future of the middle class. Justin Trudeau has proven again and again he will always cave to corporate greed. The Liberals have let people down. They don't deserve another chance. There is an even bigger battle ahead. The threat of Pierre and conservative cuts from workers, from retirees, from young people, from patients, from families. He will cut in order to give more to big corporations and wealthy CEOs. The fact is, the Liberals are too weak, too selfish, and too beholden to corporate interests to fight for people. They cannot be the change. They cannot restore the hope. They cannot stop the Conservatives, but we can.
No, the NDP can't. They can't, not with Jagmeet Singh as leader. And even if they were to get a new leader right now that does motivate the base and everything of that sort, it still probably wouldn't happen in the next election. Like, unless that person was just beyond charismatic and able to speak to the people and things of that sort, there's no possible way the NDP will win. I'm in the mind frame this next federal election, whenever it is. Yeah, it's all strategic voting. In your riding, if the Liberals are more likely to win, vote Liberal. If the NDP is more likely to win, vote the NDP. Maybe we'll get in their minority Liberal government or a majority Liberal government. The key thing is we have to keep the Conservatives out. And we'll get into some of the reasons why in a little bit. But if you watch any of my videos, you know there's a whole list of reasons why the Conservatives shouldn't get into power. But this is just, it's so frustrating because we can't get these groups to work together. What I would like to see is something similar to what happened in France, where it's like, okay, so we have these ridings where the Conservatives are going to win, but if you add the votes together of the Liberal and the NDP candidate, that would be more votes than the Conservative. So why don't you have the candidate with the least amount of the Liberal or the NDP votes drop out of the race? So then they can all get behind one candidate that would then beat the Conservative. Like, that would be ideal to see. That would be good work on the party. But we'll get into the whole again. Every election, it goes, oh, don't split your vote. You know, don't vote for the NDP because then you'll let the Conservatives in. And they'll say this even in NDP strongholds, that you shouldn't vote for the NDP because you're just splitting the leftist vote. So frustrating.
In the next federal election, Canadians will choose between Pierre Poilievre's callous cuts or hope that when we stand united, we win. The Canada's middle class will once again...
When we stand united, as I'm mentioning how we are no longer united with the Liberal government,
again thrive together. In Canada, we take care of our neighbors. That's who we are. I've embraced that value my whole life. I'm running for Prime Minister because together we can and will stop Conservative cuts. We can deliver relief and restore hope, fix healthcare, build homes you can afford, stop price gouging. It's always impossible until it isn't. It can't be done until someone does it. If we're together, nothing is impossible. And we won't let them tell us it can't be done. Big corporations and wealthy CEOs have had their government. It's the people's time.
So apparently this ad was in the making for a couple weeks now. They didn't release it, you know, when like Heather McPherson was saying, the genocide and the Liberal government propping up the genocide and stuff, they didn't split ties with the Liberal government then. They didn't split ties over so many good, legitimate reasons that would have really made a point. Instead, they just kind of put it together and they released it now. And so they started working on this, like I said, a couple of weeks ago, but then just recently, Pierre Poilievre is like demanding that the NDP sever its agreement with the Liberal government. And then suddenly the NDP severs its agreement with the Liberal government. Now, the two are not related, but the timing was really bad. It was really bad. And it's just, like I said, it's so frustrating that we can't get these groups to actually work together. And it's the same when you come to like provincial and federal politics. You'll never get them working together if, one's conservative and one's liberal. They're always working to block the other side from getting any gains. And so much good could be done in this country if we actually had a government that worked for the people instead of their own self-interests. So Justin Trudeau responded to this.
Right now, let's go to Rocky Harbour, Newfoundland. This is where Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is speaking.
As people step up. These are the kinds of things that Canadians are looking for. As I traveled across the country this summer, people talk to me about making ends meet. They talk to me about the high cost of rent and the need for more housing. They talk to me about the environment and climate change and the impacts of it. And these are the things that we're focused on. I'll let others focus on politics, but I will point out that I really...
Sorry, what? Justin, you're a politician. I would think you would focus on politics. That's kind of your job description. It's to focus on politics.
Cost of rent and the need for more housing. They talk to me about the environment and climate change and the impacts of it. And these are the things that we're focused on. I'll let others focus on politics, but I will.
But everything you just listed, it's defined by political policy. It is politics. It's all politics. You're going to let others work on the politics part. Well, what? You work on housing and cost of living and groceries that are all connected to political policy? Really?
I will point out that I really hope the NDP stays focused on how we can deliver for Canadians, as we have over the past years, rather than focusing on politics.
How dare you focus on politics? We're going to focus on delivering for Canadians. Don't you dare focus on politics, even though we're politicians and it's literally our job. He's like, Justin is normally a little bit more on point than that, but like, I don't know if he could hear himself speaking in that moment to be like, yeah, we shouldn't be focusing on politics. We should just be focusing on everything that has to do with politics.
Follow-up. What will become of the programs that you announced as part of the agreement that you had with the NDP, such as pharmacare and dental care?
Well, we have delivered on dental care. 500,000 Canadian seniors have now accessed dental care just in the past.
Means tested dental care. Just putting it out there. It has benefited some Canadians, which is good, but it is means tested dental care. It doesn't help the majority of people who need that help. It just helps a small group of Canadians.
Few months, despite Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives' opposition to it every step of the way, 500,000 Canadian seniors have now had dental care, many for the first time in decades. This is a program that has helped Canadians. We still have work to do to continue rolling out dental care, and I hope the NDP will continue to fight for that.
So why has it been decades and there's been no dental care? Who's been in power for all that time, Justin? Like, it wasn't just the Liberals, it was also the Conservatives, but neither party, up until this point, had even means-tested dental care on the books. And it's only now because Jagmeet Singh was propping up the Liberal government that they were able to squeak this one through. And so it's not like Jagmeet did all bad propping up the Liberal government, but he didn't go nearly far enough. He didn't really, again, his political instinct sucks. And the last time we were in the situation where we had the NDP propping up the Liberal government, we got what we know today as our universal health care. But Jagmeet just let this opportunity to really push and get dental care, pharmacare, all of that. He really failed to push to get that through. I don't know if there was much more of this that we need to see.
This fall, we're going to be moving forward on making sure that nobody has to choose between paying for groceries or rent or paying for much-needed insulin. Pharmacare is going to become a reality as we...
Again, when he says pharmacare, he doesn't actually mean like a universal pharmacare. It's a couple drugs that will no longer be charged to people. It's not actually like universal pharmacare.
Work on that in the House, and I hope the NDP stays focused on that. As a government, we're going to stay focused on delivering for Canadians at a...
Is he talking about politics? Tisk, Justin.
time where people need that. We have, and the Bank of Canada announcement today underscored that, we have the...
So that was the main points with that. So what does this mean? Does this mean that Canada is barreling towards an election right now? No. Really, what we have to do now is wait for a vote of no confidence or a budget bill vote. And then if the NDP doesn't support the Liberal government in that, then that would trigger an election. But the NDP no longer having this alliance, this agreement with the Liberals doesn't automatically trigger an election. Now, election was called for next October of next year. And I imagine what's most likely going to happen is we're going to have a spring election. That it will be bumped up because of this. But I don't think it's like an immediate, in the next few months election. Of course, anything's possible. Like, Justin has the ability to call for an election at any point. But I don't think he will. And I really hope not, because we're already getting election fatigue because of the amount of Canadians that are paying attention to what's happening in the United States. And that election does have, implications up here. So it is important for us to pay attention to it. But quite often our elections line up, and then we also get like a provincial election thrown in that as well. And then it's like everyone's just so sick and tired of elections. Nobody's paying attention. Nobody goes out and votes, which is super frustrating. So this doesn't mean that there's bound to be an election right now. I would love to see a new leader step in for Jagmeet Singh before then, which is not going to happen, unfortunately. I don't necessarily rule out Justin Trudeau not running to be the next prime minister. And I hope he doesn't, because the chances of the Liberals winning with him on the ticket is a lot less. And it's not that I'm a fan of Justin Trudeau, which I'm definitely not. I would still recommend people vote for him over Pierre Poilievre. It's just Pierre Poilievre is so much worse, as we will get into. Now, Pierre Poilievre also had a response to this breaking of ties between the NDP and the Liberal government. After all, he did call for Jagmeet to end that agreement. Now, there's going to be something happening in this live stream I don't think I've ever done before, where I am actually going to defend Pierre Poilievre, not once, but twice. I'm actually, I didn't think this day would come, But there's actually two things where I'm like, that's not quite fair. That's not quite fair. Are you just like gripping the sides of your seats now, wondering what those things are? Well, you'll see. You'll see. So this is part of the statement from Pierre about what was happening.
Sellout Sing betrayed the workers. Sellout Sing betrayed the workers.
So he's already using those stupid tactics of let's pick some cheesy schoolyard bully names for the other side or whatever. Donald Trump does this a lot too, where he picks some sort of catchy name. And so with Jagmeet Singh, it's now Sellout Sing. Ooh, snazzy. Did you have like a round table at an elementary school to come up with that?
Who thought he would stand up for them. Instead, he has stood up for Trudeau, allowing Trudeau to double our debt and cause the worst inflation in 40 years.
A lot of the inflation that we've been dealing with, it's not restricted to Canada. It's a global issue. It's, there was a thing that happened a little while ago called a pandemic, a worldwide pandemic that had a global impact on the economies and stuff. And I'm not entirely sure he's doubled the debt. However, if you go to any province right now that is currently run by conservative governments, the debts have exploded. Absolutely ballooned out of control.
A third of Canadians now say they consider leaving Canada. 2 million line up at food banks.
I'm sorry. I need to pull off one of what he does to a lot of other people, like the reporters, and it's like, who wants to leave Canada right now? Can you name them? Like, who you say a third, 2/3 of Canadians want to leave Canada? Who are these Canadians that want to flee the country? Can you name them? Where do they want to go? I personally look around at my options and, as I've said plenty of times, I'm not proud to be Canadian, but I am grateful to be Canadian because I'm aware of the privileges and stuff I get because I live in this country and I am a Canadian citizen. I can't imagine there are many other countries that I would actually want to live in. So who are these people that want to leave the country?
Debt and cause the worst inflation in 40 years. A third of Canadians now say they consider leaving Canada. 2 million line up at food banks. 2/3 of kids, young people, and families who don't own homes believe they never will.
He's a landlord. He's a millionaire landlord. Pierre Poilievre. He's a millionaire landlord. And he used to be a housing minister and caused housing catastrophes back when with the last conservative government. He really needs to maybe keep his mouth shut on this subject.
In Canada. We never imagined that it would be so bad that hospitals would have coolers full of dead bodies because...
What?
Hospitals would have coolers full of dead bodies because family members can't afford burials or...
Again, I have to do this. Which hospitals have coolers full of dead bodies because Canadians can't pay for funerals? And what does that have to do with the federal government? Healthcare is more provincially run. Which hospitals have these coolers full of bodies for people who can't afford funerals? Just name one. Name one. Cite the source. Can you do that, Pierre? Can you?
Cremations. But that's what Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh, Sellout Sing, have delivered. And then on food prices, well, food prices, I think we've got a CBC, oh my goodness, CBC's microphone has fallen down. What do you know? Who would have thought that I'd be holding on to the CBC logo here today? I'll give that to you. I don't know if that... everything is broken in Canada after 9 years of the NDP Liberals, including the CBC microphone.
Okay, this is literally like one of my defenses of him. That was probably the most human moment he's ever had. Like, some people are mocking him, saying, oh, well, the mic falling down, it threw him off and stuff like that. But he actually responded to it, I think, in the most human-like way I've ever seen him act. And I say this because I've been to political events before, and at one of them, there were people up on stage giving their speeches, and it was at a church that had like these weird light switches, and somebody accidentally like leaned on them and the lights would go off. And this happened a couple times, and every time it happened, the people who were talking and giving their speech made no acknowledgement of it whatsoever. They didn't say anything, they just kept talking like the lights were still on. And so for him to actually acknowledge the mic and make a cute little joke about it, like everything's falling apart in Canada, including the CBC mic, ha ha ha. You know what? That is probably the most human thing I've ever seen him do. And that is one defense of him in this live stream. The next one will be coming up in a little while.
And now, Sellout Sing has pulled a stunt. The Sellout Sing stunt today, where he came out and claimed that he was wrong, that the coalition was a bad, costly idea, but he refuses to commit to voting for a carbon tax election. So my message to Sellout Sing is this. If you're serious about ending your costly carbon tax coalition with Trudeau, then commit today to voting for a carbon tax election at the earliest confidence vote in the House of Commons. That way we can have a carbon tax election where Canadians will...
Sorry, his shirt is confusing me. He had it open, what? Okay, that's just, it seems a little, I don't know, the flow of the words on it don't make much sense to me, because for me it would be like, axe the tax, like in that order, but he has it going around, like, I'm just being nitpicky here, but it's a stupid t-shirt. It's a stupid t-shirt because a lot of people in Canada, including conservatives, don't realize how much they like the carbon tax because of the rebates they get. And when conservatives stop getting those rebates, I think they might be a little upset. But somehow Pierre will still blame it on Justin Trudeau that they're no longer getting the rebates once they've decided to axe the tax.
Tax election at the earliest confidence vote in the House of Commons. That way we can have a carbon tax election where Canadians will decide between the costly coalition of Trudeau and Sellout Sing that tax your food, punish your work, take your money, double your housing costs, and unleash crime and drugs on your street.
All of those were wrong. All of them. Like, a lot of the issues around, like, groceries and stuff, that's corporations that need to be rung in. You know, the crime he's talking about. Again, cite the source. Where are these crime increases? Can you name them? Can you say which city is suffering from them right now? Anything? Anything? You're always demanding that reporters be super specific, so why don't you? Where are you getting your information from?
Or common sense conservatives who will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. And so
yeah, none of the above. Now, I'm not quite done with this story. There is something else that I just kind of like, really, really. See, a little while ago, I posted a clip from a live stream I did where I was covering a really, really horrible ad from Pierre and the Conservatives, where almost none of the stock footage used was Canadian. It was just like the worst ad possible. Like, it's almost like they went out of their way to find stock footage that wasn't Canadian. And it was ridiculous. And it was mocked to high end. It was so bad. The Conservatives actually took that ad down. But it's on the internet, so it's there forever. And other people had it saved and stuff. But that's how bad it was. And Jagmeet Singh at the time called it out, and because it's an easy thing to call out and all that sort of stuff. And so maybe pay a little bit more attention than NDP used stock video from Russia weeks after decrying Tories for doing the same thing. So that video we just watched of Jagmeet Singh saying, you know, this is why we're splitting ties with the Liberals, that included stock footage from Russia. The New Democrats included stock images from Russia and Israel in a recent high-profile video weeks after the party criticized Conservatives for using non-Canadian images in their content. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh announced in a video message Wednesday he was ending a supply and confidence deal with the Liberal government while accusing Conservatives' policies of hurting Canadians, including retirees and families. The video then flashes to a stock video of two seniors sitting at a table looking at their laptop. The Canadian press independently verified from several stock image sites, including Getty Images, that the video originated from Russia. The two seniors are also featured in photographs on the website for a Russian university, which says they are faculty members there. We obtained the image from North American Stock Image Service, the New Democrat said in a statement about Russian content. Nowhere did the service mention where the video was taken. We'll take better care in the future. If it was that easy for the Canadian press to figure out that that was stock footage from Russia, how was it so difficult for you to figure out that was stock image from Russia? Like, I get that you have to buy stock images and stuff like that, but seriously, for the frames that they buy, is it that impossible to take your cell phone to the cafeteria and get that image? Make sure it's Canadian, you know? Just, it's really, like, again, Jagmeet Singh's political instinct sucks. And then you get things like this, like the NDP as a party. They have individuals within that are fantastic, but the organization as a whole really has just kind of fallen apart. And it's not the party it used to be. Of all the places for this stock footage to come from, Russia? I don't know, maybe Russia's in the news for other reasons right now, and this looks really sad and not great to have stock footage from Russia in one of your videos right now because of other breaking news that I'm about to cover. But of all the other places to have stock footage from right now, it's Russian. Oh, it's almost like they're trying to fail.